Hello folks on YouTube. It's been a little while since I posted. This again is my Telefunken Jubilate that has the AM/FM shortwave, and I'm currently running the BFO. This is the radio teletype station. It's at about 4.05 megahertz. And the circuit for the BFO is really simple, just a Hartley oscillator. I'm currently running it off of a battery and using a standard IF transformer. In this case I'm using the yellow one, and a 2N22A with a 1 meg ohm feedback. I have a capacitor coupling. I've actually reduced that from 110 on down to a 22 picofarad. This is the BFO box, if you remember. If I disconnect it, as I just did, there we are. I just have a modest antenna attached. Let me turn it off and back on. Okay, now what I'm going to do instead is I'm planning to build this circuit not external as I have in the box that I showed, but I'm going to build another circuit here using a switch that's going to go into the back of the Telefunken, a bridge rectifier that's going to take voltage from the Telefunken. Of course, we'll have all the other parts for the BFO. So where am I going to get the power from, and where am I going to inject it? So I'm going to change the setup here. I'm going to take my antenna and go direct into the antenna input. Okay, so that's directly into the antenna input. Now I could inject directly, and this is a 22 PF capacitor. I could inject directly into the antenna as before. And let's see if I can do that. There we go. So I'm currently running the BFO, still off battery, going in to the antenna here. And you can hear it. But it turns out, and the reason why I'm showing this is, there are very specific points on the Telefunken that are very useful here. The dial light that's back in there, you can see. The dial light runs off of these wires right here, where the yellow is AC 7 volts, and the blue actually goes to the chassis. And those come to some very convenient points here. Yellow here, which is AC 7 volts. Blue is to the chassis. And so I'm going to attach my bridge rectifier to that AC there. And then I'm going to let the DC from it float and just run the BFO circuit, sort of like I am now. Except I'm not going to inject it at the antenna. It turns out that right here, at this IF transformer between it and the tube, there's a wonderful spot to inject it, right here. There we go. And I don't even have to hook up the ground. Because remember, this whole thing's floating. There's nothing attached other than this point here. So, I have three convenient points. Injection from the output of the BFO here, at this point right there. And then I'm going to pick up my power to the left of this transformer can, with the yellow wire being the AC one side, 7 volts, and then the chassis other side, the blue wire. And that'll go to my bridge rectifier. So as we come back and look at the circuit again, we're going to use the bridge rectifier and the capacitor to get my DC volts to run the BFO. That's going to come in here. And then we have all the other parts to run it, and we're going to inject its output. And this will be floating. We're not going to, because of the high voltages and so forth present, we're just going to leave that floating. And we'll just inject this through, and we'll take a 22 PF capacitor like I just did, and that's going to inject at that point on the back. So again, just to look at the back again, it's so simple. AC, chassis, going to go to the bridge rectifier for power, and here is the injection point, just like I did before. Let me tune this in here just slightly. There we go. And we'll inject. I could inject it directly through the 110 PF, but that might be sensitive. There we go. Unless you really know what you're doing, I don't recommend that you touch things within this chassis because you have about 250 to 300 volts running through from the power transformer and so forth, as well as 110 coming in. But these points over here, as I mentioned, are low voltage, 7 volts AC, and intermediate frequency injection point. Let's try injecting without the capacitor. So now we're just using it direct, but through the 110. Now let me do that right. There we go. So I could do that directly and it'd probably be okay. And again, by direct I mean, you know, from my BFO circuit I showed earlier, I have a larger capacitor coupling it around about 100 PF. But all that's needed is this 22 PF. There we go. And actually you can hear the stronger signal, so it's less desensed. So I'm going to default to the 22 PF when I directly inject it. Very good. So there we have the ability. I'm going to create that BFO and it's going to attach to the back panel with the switch on the back panel. 3 simple wires and we're done.